Welcome everyone to another episode of Jai After Dark. I'm here as always with my lovely co-host Shabnam. What's up?
Hey.
Hey, we have somebody new today, right?
Tell our listeners who it is.
So we've been covering White Lotus. Everyone's been listening. We get some interesting emails. We get some weird questions too because we talk about Thailand and history and things like that. But today we wanted to bring somebody straight from the show. We are so honored to have Shalini Peiris here with us, who plays Amrita in The White Lotus. How are you, Shalini? Thank you so much.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I was so scared to say hello. Hi.
Oh, you don't have to say. Wow, that's nice to hear. Like I do come off a little strong. I'm sorry.
No, I was like, hey, everybody, what's up? Hi.
Super
we're
casual,
used to being
yeah.
We're used to being intimidated by our guests, so I guess it's nice that someone's scared of us. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
But no, thank you so much for being here. As I just said, you are in The White Lotus, but also everybody should know Shalini was a theater actress in the UK and then had her first on-screen credit in 2019. Did some slapstick comedy. I watched a couple of those episodes. Danny and Mick. That was fun.
My Lord.
That was fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That
That was fun.
Yeah.
I liked your blue cake that you made that always comes up in my YouTube shorts, like one of the recipes that you couldn't.
Oh my God. It's really sweet because I've got, like, even to this day, because the show still runs here. So it's really sweet because some kids will kind of like have a moment where they're like, it's Naomi. And it's really, really cute when you see kids kind of like have that, like, but I saw you on TV and now you're here. Like even some of my friends' kids, it's really sweet.
Aw, that's so cute.
It's like akin to the Wiggles. Do you know the Wiggles from Australia?
I have heard. Oh no, sorry. One of my all-time favorite shows is 30 Rock, and there was an episode, but I think it was like a parody of the Wiggles. So they were called the Wombles, but in the episode of 30 Rock. But I have heard of the Wiggles. Sorry, that was a very long answer.
No, you're good. Hey, you can go an hour and we'll listen. So it's all
okay.
Good. The Wiggles. So Danny and Mick, it's we can get into your acting style, obviously, because it's so different, like slapstick comedy versus theater, and you've done some Shakespeare, I think, as well, back in the day. Yeah. And then you had a very unique journey to the stage, to the screen, and it's been like a long 15-year process, 17-year process, maybe at this point.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Where do you consider yourself? Like, you're an actress, obviously, a beautiful actress, super talented. We already know that. But theater versus movies versus film versus TV, like, where does your passion lie? And where was like your passion when it first started? Was it just to be an actress, or is it like, I'm going to be on stage? Like what's that thought process? Because we don't have that thought process, right? Growing up, we were engineers.
Yeah. yeah. I can speak on that as well. But no, it was. I mean, it all of it. Like the love is all encompassing. I mean, it's the industry that kind of divides between mediums, but I mean, this is the thing that I've loved the longest, you know, since I can remember, and my family as well will tell you that I have always been a performer, and they were my very first kind of like forced audience. But I mean, equally, I grew up on movies and kind of getting lost in those worlds and never wanted to come out. And then also my love for that was also nurtured first in kind of any theater group I could get my hands on growing up as well. So it was always both.
So when you talk about performing, where does that love come from? Like, is it the connection between people? Is it the telling of the story? Is it all of that? Like, where does that passion lie for you?
I think it's a lot. I think if you ask any actor, they could probably talk on that for like a good couple of hours. I think a lot of actors are very connected to their inner child, so that child still speaks, even as we journey through our career as adults.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think I was born loving this. Like I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember ever not. Um, but I think it was also quite a safe healing space for me because we left Sri Lanka. I would have been about 2.5, 3, going on 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved to a place called Newcastle, big up the Geordies, which is in the north of England, and then went from a place where I looked like everyone else and everyone else looked like me to where I could not be more different.
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of like, I don't know, it kind of became a space where whoever I was in this world was okay. And,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of learn to be a chameleon anyway when you're like a, whatever you want to call a immigrant, third culture kid. I don't know. The list of terms are endless for us now, but
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I think it did also have a very strong like therapeutic uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
kind of like hold for me as well.
yeah. It,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, like Shabnam, this always turns into like a therapy session, right? When we speak with people, so it's like, yeah, we're all children at some point, so
yeah,
whatever we have,
Obviously.
yeah, it doesn't go
yeah,
away, right? And
yeah. No.
like I think you mentioned that you're turning 40 this year on another podcast, so it's like, but why, like why would we let go of our youth? So I
I
completely
thought you were
understand
saying
your
like,
answer.
but why
Yeah,
turn 40? I was like,
no,
I
don't turn
have to.
40. Yeah, don't turn 40.
It's
I
Don't
said,
do it.
wait,
I'm
I have
turning
a choice.
I
Actually,
know
yeah,
if I
Shabnam's
had a
turning
choice, I
40.
wouldn't do it either. I'm going to
Yeah,
be 40 in a few weeks, so I'm
In a
holding
few
on to the 3 for as
weeks.
long as I
yeah.
can. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday in
Yeah.
advance. But you
Thank
know, I
you.
don't know. Are you planning a big 40th?
So actually, I was just talking to our
Yeah.
mutual friend yesterday, and we might do something like in April, so like a few weeks
Yeah.
after. So I told my husband, I was like, I want to do it quiet, but then, I have some friends that I really enjoy spending time with that aren't local. So it might then turn into something big if I want to spend time with them. So I think
Yeah.
I think I'll do something. But yeah.
You
Yeah.
should.
I feel like
Both of you should.
40
Yeah.
Yeah.
has to be documented because I'm usually very awkward about my birthday, but I feel like I'm actually quite excited for 40 because all my friends in their 40s, especially women, are just like 40s are the best. And so
Oh
I'm
wow.
kind of, yeah, 39 is such a kind of like you're so on the cusp, you might as well just
Uh-huh.
kind of like tip
Make
over
the jump.
into make the
Yeah.
jump. Yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
looking forward to it actually.
That's
Uh,
cool. I had a big 80s themed 30th birthday and I like went
Oh,
all
that's
out.
so fun.
Yeah,
that
so
that
so
was
that
fun.
was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
When you turn
Yeah.
40, I don't, should we be harping on your age, by the way? Like I feel a little off. Like it's like I'm asking
No,
You
questions.
I
already did
think
it. You can't stop now.
I already did it. Yeah, I guess. What
so
am I
you
saying?
turned
Yeah.
40 this year. No, I actually think we should because I think especially in our business and I think especially for women, it is almost like you can't talk about it aging like,
Yeah.
like actresses don't age, like you must it kind of hopefully coming out of that thinking space where you kind of like at one point there were just no parts for women in between 20 and 60. You went from like sexy
Mhm.
secretary to driving Miss Daisy, like there was no in
Yeah.
between. And so so I just, it's funny because I also want to state my age because I don't have a proper Wikipedia page and
Yeah.
I probably should make one, but for some reason I'm down as 29.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, you are on Google.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and my birthday is completely wrong as well. But I don't know where the 29 has come from, but I get asked about this a lot, and even my partner has had a few of his female friends, because he's he's 46, kind of like ask, but like in quite a like, you better not be dating a 29-year-old, you pervert, you know? So like, just for the
Oh, no.
record, yeah.
We saw it, and I texted Shabnam last night, and I'm like, this timeline doesn't make any sense, because she was in
It does.
theater 2009 to 2015.
Yeah.
That means she was 14, 12. Like, what's going on? And then you work in human rights commissions in Hong Kong, and I'm like, you did this when you were 11 years old? That's amazing.
Yes,
Like,
I'm
that's
very
great.
smart.
Like,
Yeah.
I knew you were in the White Lotus. I didn't know you were a child genius
Prodigy. Yeah.
saving the
Well, I
world in
don't
Hong
even
Kong.
know
Yeah.
where that came from, where that birth
Yeah.
date, and I don't know where it came from, but yeah, I should
But
correct.
if we can switch things on Google, I'm 45, by the way. So I'm going to
Yeah.
change my shit to 29 as well.
He's
now.
older than us, so
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to say it like
Okay.
that. I'm just 45. I'm just 45. I'm not older than
You're
anybody.
just
I meant, yeah, you know.
You're
So
just what you are. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just what I am. I'm just 45.
Yeah, you're
I'm
just what
living.
you
I'm
are.
living the dream. I'm
Yeah.
younger every day, as are you, as is Shabnam.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but it is Friday night in London. That's where you are right now, or
Yeah.
yeah. What's Friday night in London? Is that like going out to the West End? Shabnam, we haven't been out, right, in London. So is it like
Yeah.
glamorous? Like, it feels glamorous.
I feel like I should lie at this point.
Just say you're like, it's the best. I'm out and about
I'm
every
out.
night.
I am out every night. It's
Nice.
just wild. Like, one night blends into another. I definitely am not in my PJs by 8:30 and in bed by
No, you're not.
10:30,
Yeah.
11. Absolutely not. No, that
is
is
this
so
the
not me.
29-year-old Shalini talking?
No, I was doing the same at 29.
She's like, I'm the same.
I'm just the same. No, actually, I had more. You know, I feel like in my 20s, I've always been a little. I don't want to like. I've always been like a good girl from school. You know, like I never went nuts, but like I remember at uni and what you all call college.
Mhm.
You know, when we'd go out clubbing as a student and stuff, and I used to wear heels and like, you know, and I used to have so much stamina, and now
Yeah.
like I could not, if I go out, first of all, I am in flats and I will not go into any club that has a dress code where women have to wear heels. I refuse.
Oh, no way.
So
Yeah, don't do that.
Aw.
I just
Yeah.
you can't dance. And but yeah, and then also I will take at least a week to recover afterwards, but I will talk about that night for months. I'll be like, that night I went out. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
funny.
us, right? It's like every 6 weeks I need a night out. Like, my daughter's
Yeah.
gonna be 16. Like, she's, you know, so I tell her, I'm like, yeah, I was like, don't party. Like, you can go out, but this is a great conversation. Flats, just walk
Yeah.
around London. And she's actually been to London without me, which is kind of weird. But I told her very specifically, I was like, don't party. And then she's like, I don't even know what partying is. So so I guess we're not there yet.
She's a good yeah,
She's a good girl.
Did she like
She's actually
it?
she's a theater kid. So she got rejected from her high school theater play last week. she didn't get cast. So
Aw.
she's not
bless
super
her.
upset about it. But she's been in like 17 productions. When she was like, you know,
Wow.
8 to 15.
Wow.
Because she hears me talk all the time, right? And then she's like, I want to talk too. So I was like, okay. But she wants to be a lawyer, Shabnam. I told you that. So she's
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
her own like oration
Oh,
eventually.
I see. Okay.
We wanted to ask you, like, and you did bring this up on other
So cool.
podcasts, and everyone knows that we have to be engineers, doctors, lawyers, etc. Like, we don't want to like harp on that point. And Shabnam is a lawyer, by the way. So
Oh, really?
she's already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, how did you remove yourself from the Human Rights Commission in Hong Kong? I just like so curious. Like, if I had a job like that, I went through the same thing, by the way. I left my tech job after 20 years last month. And then
Last month?
my-
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
huge.
and my parents
Yeah.
are
How
like,
does it
what are you
feel?
doing?
Yeah.
How does it
I'm
feel?
talking to Shalini Peiris from the White Lotus. I feel great. I don't know. How do you feel, Shabnam? Like, I don't have any
bless
regrets
you.
right now. I'm like, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're cloud 9. It could be 4 a.m. and we'd still be excited.
I
Oh.
have my day job, but this has been like something that's brought me so much joy, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
It's nice,
really
right? And then that's why when we read your bio, we were like, oh, it's very similar. And then, Rajiv said kind of the same stuff. Rajiv Colton, who I think is an acquaintance of yours from Sri Lanka, we interviewed him as well. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if you had the same sort of pressure, I guess, or I don't know.
I mean, I think it didn't surprise anyone in my family when I said I wanted to do this, but I think um, when it came to like applications, when I was in high school, my drama teachers kind of talked to me about drama school. Well, they suggested maybe think about drama school. And it was a very different kind of, the industry looked very different back then.
Mhm.
So anyway, chickened out and then did anthropology at SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies, which was the part of the University of London, and um, even whatever kind of drama groups, the drama societies there were, I was not involved in at all for like the whole 4 years that I was there. It was like a complete cut off, and I just parked it as like a childhood dream. And although I have to say, I feel like anthropology is still quite connected because it's a study
Mhm.
essentially of people and cultures and then it was while I was in back in Hong Kong and I started getting involved in like a drama like in plays there and that I realized oh this is and I was working at the Human Rights Commission so this was the thing that brought me joy on the side because the work that we were doing was very, very intense. And I was working on human rights abuse cases in both Sri Lanka and Indonesia. And
Mhm.
this was during 2008, 2009, which were the final years of the war in Sri Lanka.
Mhm.
So, as a Sri Lankan, it was also incredibly painful um, to kind of witness firsthand what we were doing to each other. And so, I was dealing with human rights violations committed by both sides,
Mhm.
um, abductions, killings, torture, you name it. Um, and I
It's
so in that
emotionally heavy. It's
very
emotionally heavy, right? Yeah.
very yeah and I also and before that I thought I know especially my grandfathers both really wanted me to go down the line of academics and they thought I was very well suited to academics but while I was actually in academics I realized that I couldn't stand academics, like academic, like people, like is it academics? But I remember, I was at SOAS, and which, by the way, back in the day, it had its own colonial history, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I would really clash with professors who had written a couple of books on Sri Lanka and then would
Mm-hmm.
try to then preach to me about my own country
Mm.
and then tell me I was too close to the subject. And I was like, I
Mm.
am
Yep.
the subject.
You are the subject.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the subject,
Yeah.
and assume my point of view based on my ethnicity and so I used to just end up arguing a lot. And I was so frustrated. And I also was very bothered by the lack of empathy because I was like,
Mhm.
who are these books for? Because
Yeah.
you're writing all these books on Sri Lanka. They're not for us because we ain't reading them. So what is this for? And you're talking about really huge human experiences like war and violence in the context of these frameworks, but I was like, where is the empathy? And
Yeah.
that's kind of what brought me back that in its purest form, what we do as artists is is all empathy, is that
Mhm.
and been storytellers since the beginning of time, right? So I think simply by telling a story with zero judgment and total empathy, I think that is and has proven to be such a powerful way of connecting to each other and impacting a person or comforting a person, bringing them joy, giving them an escape. Like, I think that's a really special service. So that's what brought me back. And then I've totally forgotten the question. Oh, my parent.
No, you're
Yeah.
good.
So then when I'm sorry. So they weren't surprised when I said, I actually think I might want to try for drama school, but I think they were very scared because they were like, you could not be picking a less secure
Yeah.
profession, and we don't know how to
Yeah.
protect you in this.
Mhm.
But they gave me their blessing, and I think I could afford to. I auditioned for 3 because you have to pay to audition, and
That's so crazy to me
yeah,
that you
I
yeah.
and I think there was some movement to scrap audition fees. I don't know to what extent that has been done for all drama schools, but that was the case back then.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I got into one, and so then I ended up doing the master's program. But my parents, I have to say, have been like champions. I mean, we are an international family. They have gotten on a plane, sometimes flown in to watch me in a show, and then flown out the next day if they had to, because
Mhm.
home, of other family kind of obligations. But like, they pretty much have made it to every single one of my shows, and they
Wow.
don't live
Wow.
here, so it's
Wow.
huge. And but yeah, the aunties, some of the auntie brigade have a lot to say. That's a
There's
Yeah.
aunties
whole
out
lot.
there too. There's aunties out in.
In Sri Lanka. Oh my
I
god, are
Well,
you
think American
kidding?
aunties are a little bit different than other aunties, but Sri Lankan aunties, no, we don't have the pleasure. We don't know.
Oh,
they're
okay.
all the
Well,
same, I
Are
think.
they?
they're
I don't know.
all the same. They're
Yeah.
all the same. Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
always have
yeah.
something
Like,
to say, I
zero
think, right?
filter
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm
about
just joking
everything.
around. Yeah,
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 Yeah.
about
I know.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're putting all this on
So
the internet, and I talk like this, so of course I know aunties are listening. So shout out aunties
yeah.
from our,
Shout out to the
yeah.
aunties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
but
an
I
interesting
think
telling. Yeah, like it's for you. I
yeah.
liked you wanted to make a difference. You're trying to tell people, your professors and other academics, I guess. Now I don't know how to say it either.
I think
Academia?
academics,
It's
yeah.
Academics,
Yeah.
yeah,
academians,
academic, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
academons. We can call them
Academons.
academons. Didn't let Shalini present her own experiences from Sri Lanka as like evidence of. That's kind of, you make a great point, right? You were an academic, you knew your shit. You also are from that community. You saw the war in 08, 09, the civil war in Sri Lanka, by the way, for the listeners. The country's been colonized over and over. And then you get to this place in your career where you're like, I can help and I have things that I can say and show you that you guys don't know, right? Because you're learning this, but you didn't grow up in it. So, and they didn't let you, it sounds like. And you had to argue. You could have a nice big impact on the world through acting, and that's like, as you said, you get to be yourself and you get to like remove all the noise and strip
Mm.
yourself of all the drama
And
and
the
insert new
books.
drama, right? Like insert
Yeah.
theatrical drama. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, do what you need to
Yeah.
do, right? So you can
Yeah.
express yourself, because they didn't let you do it, it sounds like. I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't want to put words
Hmm.
in your mouth either, but I'm not a big fan of academics either, right? So like, go live the life
Yeah.
first, right, before you tell
Yeah.
everyone what
Before
you
you
thought
tell it.
happened. Yeah.
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 So
So I wanted to
Mhm.
ask you, like, you've talked about being in Hong Kong and being in London and Sri Lanka. So what do you consider your home? Because it's beautiful to hear you talk about all these places, and you seem like they have such meaning to you and they're so close to your heart. So when you think of like home, what's home for you? Where's home?
Oh, that's a good question. Home in the heart sense will always be Sri Lanka,
Mm.
but it's also like I also feel that do also need to acknowledge that I haven't lived there since I was 3. I go back every year, like every year, multiple times if possible.
Mm.
And then during lockdown, I went home um, uh, for 6 months. Um, and I do hope to at some point live in Sri Lanka. I've been in London. I mean, Hong Kong is very much a childhood home. It's where I grew up. My most formative years were in Hong Kong. But Hong Kong is a place that changes, that is constantly changes. It's such a lively city. So now when I go back to Hong Kong, I actually feel like a tourist because all my landmarks have changed.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
now with the political situation in Hong
Well,
Kong, at one point there were a lot of us in Hong Kong, and now the last of my high school friends from my group of friends have left
Mhm.
Hong Kong. But I still have my Hong Kong ID card, so that I still have like PR in Hong Kong. But yeah, it's
Nice.
very like childhood home.
Yeah.
And then this has been like London has been my home for a long ass time, like maybe 20 years.
mm.
Mhm.
And also remembering I'm 29, so I came here when I was 9. So,
It's
so
math, don't math. Oh my
the
god.
math, yeah, the math ain't mathing. But yeah, but it's weird that I still somehow feel like an expat here.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
have this thing when I'm not here, I miss it. But when I am here, I'm like, the weather
Yeah.
and all,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so
Yeah.
expensive and fucking this and that. But
Yeah.
um, London is its own energy that is very addictive. Will I spend the rest of my days here? Probably not. But I have
Mm.
spent 20 years here, so it is like a home in a huge sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just spent a significant amount of time in LA, right? And I may or may not have been in Instagram stalking you, and that's why I know
Do you
that. So,
both live in LA? Are you both in LA?
I'm close. I'm in San Diego.
And then I'm in the
Okay.
San Francisco area, so a little
Yeah.
farther away, but
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
yeah.
need to
So
I
we're in
need to make
California.
it
Yeah.
California. Yeah,
Yeah.
California is amazing. Like it was my first time to the state, first time
Really?
to California. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
Wow.
wow.
I
Okay.
have a
Yeah.
lot of family in the States, but
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mhm.
all east.
Mm.
Okay.
My brother and his family were in Chicago. They've now moved down to Virginia.
Mm.
But yeah, I have family in Maine, family in New
Wow.
York,
Wow.
and just everywhere. But and we do have family friends in California. But yeah, it was very. I mean, I was like, I could live. It's freaking expensive, but make
Yeah,
some
it's
more
not that.
money for. I
It's
mean,
London, right?
LA.
Like, yeah, London,
Yeah,
LA. I don't know what's more expensive, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess, but yeah, it's beautiful. Like I just
yeah,
love
Yeah.
the idea of having a city so immersed in nature was like kind of
Yeah.
yeah,
blew my mind.
you're
And
totally
just
correct. Yeah.
LA is a vibe in itself. I was like, I am living in a movie right now.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why I live in San Diego, because if I lived in LA, I don't think I trust myself. So I can, being 2.5 hours away is fine with me. I can just drive there, right? So,
Drive
Yeah.
there when you need
yeah.
to
And then come
get your
back. And San
dose and
Diego,
then leave. Yeah.
exactly. And if you love this kind of nature, Shalini, like San Diego is like, I'm sorry, it's not a San Diego podcast, but I talk about it all the time. It is like the place to live. So
No,
just
I'm like
live there.
I
Yeah,
kind of
San
want to move to San
Diego.
Diego
I
too.
told Shabnam, I was
Yeah.
like, you got to get down here. Like, you got to get
Yeah.
down here quick.
Yeah.
So we can record this
Yeah.
live, right? We can do
Yeah.
live podcasts. But
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about LA. Rajiv told us that he found some Sri Lankan restaurants in
Really?
LA. Yeah, like Sri Lankan owned. He went and made friends with the owners, right? So he
Oh,
was telling us all that Sri Lankan Spice Bowl. Remember Shabnam
Yes,
Spice Bowl?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was my
spaceball.
jam. And then he told us to go there. We haven't been there yet. I might go there this weekend, actually.
Oh, let me know because I was just there for 6 days. I have Rajiv and I have not actually met,
Mm.
so this is the Sri Lankan network. So we connected
Oh, of
over
course. Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
and he was very sweetly trying to help me find someone to help me drape my sari for the premiere. So
Aw.
that's how we
Really?
made. Yeah,
That's
somebody
awesome.
somebody back home gave me his number and said, "Oh, just message him and he'll help you." It was
Oh.
very sweet. But yeah, you know what's weird? Spice Bowl, I'm wondering if this is the same owner, because when I was filming in Serbia, I did a
Mhm.
quick trip over to Croatia, and
Mhm.
in Zagreb, I was walking around and then I saw this Sri Lankan restaurant and freaked out. And it was called Curry Soul. And then the same owners opened up a restaurant called Curry Bowl in Serbia.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm like,
Wow.
I'm wondering if there's some. Anyway, this is just a
No,
very
They have like a
similar.
relative. They have
yeah,
a
they're like
relative in
Yeah,
LA.
in LA
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Belgrade. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound really dumb, and we already made this dumb joke with Rajiv. We didn't know any Sri Lankan people. We
But
Oh,
don't.
that's okay.
really?
No, you guys
You
say
do
that.
now?
I do. Oh, of
Yes.
course. Yeah, I know two
But
now. Yeah.
I know a couple of Sri Lankan people. I
Yeah.
know a family that is not ethnically Sri Lankan but lived there, and
Oh,
then I
cool.
know and then
Oh,
I know like people that are actually ethnically Sri Lankan. So
Yeah.
you speak for yourself.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hey, we're not racist against Sri Lankans. It's not. Like it's.
Yeah.
But we did.
And now
So
you're
yeah. Now we're here. We love it.
now we're here. Yeah.
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 I guess because America is so huge,
Hmm.
it's hard to get a sense of the Sri Lankan
Community.
diaspora in the
Yeah.
States. Yeah.
Hmm. And then also, I think because most average Americans will just assume you're Indian. And then, like, the people that I'm talking about that I mentioned to you, we all hang out together because even though we're from these different subculture communities, but our culture's still more similar than maybe the other people were around here
Yeah,
in
of
America.
course.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we it confuses those people more because they do all think that we are then the same, right?
Yeah, they're like, there's a
Um,
bunch of Browns together.
Yeah.
They must
yeah,
be family. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
or like Rick, right? Rick thinks you're Indian in episode 2. So
Oh my gosh. That
Rick's a dick. Like I know Rick's supposed to be a dick. I get that, but like, yeah, he's like, what does he say? He's like, she
because
relaxes you
all
because she's Indian or something.
Yeah.
yeah, actually, this is a good, because I don't. There was a line about Amrita, where Amrita in the very first scene kind of says, "Oh, I'm from Sri Lanka," and so then it was cut, and then it goes straight into kind of
The shooting.
no, like there was a bit more small talk between
Hmm.
myself and Mick, who
Zion.
plays Zion. And yeah, so it kind of, that kind of small talk was cut. So that was my one reference for her being Sri Lankan. And I was
Mm.
like, oh, I feel like I should because say that she's Sri Lankan, because I'm doing a Sri Lankan accent, so I didn't want Indians to be
Hmm.
thinking that's a really shady Indian accent that I don't, or for Sri Lankans to be thinking that's a really bad. She sounds Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
So, but then it made the whole, because she's Indian and it's good to talk to a wise Indian line.
Yeah.
Also, it added to that of like, she's not actually Indian, but like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, she's not. But it's a weird thing, this whole who's Asian, because
Yeah.
growing up in Asia, like, Asia is huge, but we are
Hmm.
all Asian. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
here in the UK, if you say Asian, you're talking about us. And then everybody else from the continent of Asia needs to find a way to classify themselves. And then when you go to the States, I
Hmm.
keep being referred to as Indian. And I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
Sri Lankan. I was like, oh, yeah, but Indian. And then if I say I'm Asian, people will be like, what? And it's just
Yeah.
like very, and so then Asian refers to something else completely. But I'm like, but we're actually
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
Asian? Yeah.
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 And we can't say Oriental here, right? Like we can say it. I just said it, but I'm not gonna walk up
Yeah.
to someone and be like,
But
"Oh,
I might edit that out.
well, I mean, yeah, we're about to get canceled because they say Oriental. I think you went to a school and it literally says Oriental in the
It
title, right?
literally
Like,
said Oriental.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but no,
The
nobody
School of
knows what we
Oriental.
are here, right? Like, no one's ever gonna guess that we're Pakistani.
Well, here
Shabnam and
we
I,
called
yeah,
Yeah, but here we're called South Asian, but then people get confused and call us Southeast Asian, which to me is like Thailand. But
Laos or something.
Yeah.
but like they
Yeah.
do call us, even my husband's white and Mexican. He
Mm-hmm.
even like 6 months ago said Southeast Asian. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
even
really?
you? I was, yeah.
That's your
I was like,
wife?
what the hell?
You,
Yeah.
honey, come on. Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on, Brian. Come on, I'm calling you out.
yeah.
You know where your wife's from?
Yeah.
So
I've heard that as well. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the wrong corner. But okay. Yeah.
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 That's probably why we started this podcast, and we like talking to minority voices, and it's, not just Sri Lankans, right? It seems like it might be, but no, we'll bring anybody on, and it is confusing.
Wait,
for
are you
us,
both
and
Pakistani?
Yeah, we're both Pakistani.
Yeah, we're both Pakistani.
Oh my God. Okay, so we can just
Yeah.
bash India for a bit. Okay.
We could.
No, I'm jokes. Cut this out.
It's all jokes, guys. It's all jokes. Hey, we did
All
a
jokes.
great. Yeah, I love Hrithik
Actually,
Roshan,
Yeah. Yeah.
Salman Khan.
It
What's
is
up?
a
I like
joke.
all those actors.
Yeah.
I don't actually know that
No,
much
we
about
do.
Bollywood, but they're great. Yeah.
They are. Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, yeah. What are your
It's
true thoughts?
just-
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Sri Lanka, it's just that I don't know if it's like the little country, small country, big brother,
Yeah.
little brother thing, but it is like it gets on our tits when just constantly like you're constantly in comparison to India. Like the number of people who I'll be like, oh, I'm from Sri Lanka. And they'll be like, oh my God, I went to Goa last year. And I'll be like,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Or
Like, so
they'll
what?
be like,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I cooked this wonderful jalfrezi the other day. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
jalfrezi, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Or they'll be like, I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Bollywood. And I'm like, that is literally not us. But okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's like this weird competitive thing, but it's love. But like my partner's Ghanaian. And it's the
Okay.
same thing with Ghanaians and Nigerians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They'll
yeah.
go 9 rounds over who makes the best jollof rice,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that
Nice.
it's just that little thing. But yeah, I think there's another layer where I have been told quite a lot by other South Asians that I am attractive for a Sri Lankan. Like that's been said to me quite a bit.
Like
And
you're
you know
talking
what?
about there's like colorism elements and
Yeah,
stuff.
you know what that's
Yeah.
about, right? So I know exactly where because they're saying, oh, you're not like particularly dark skinned, and Sri Lankans are dark skinned, and so there's this. I don't know. I think for us as well, there is this kind of like marking of us as somehow like the ugly ducklings of the bunch because we're darker, and then like there's this standard of beauty that is kind of like Indian set that we aspire to, but that's also specifically like North India.
Yeah.
So there's like all of that going on where we're like, fuck them, and then there's cricket, and then it's a lot. It's just a lot.
Went from all that to cricket. I was like, the cricket seems out of control, right? Yeah.
So let me ask you. So I think obviously this comes largely from colonialism, right? The colorism.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend also challenge me and say, I think it's also that the people that worked outside were more tan, so they were darker. So I'm just wondering kind of like where do you fall in that camp, and what do you think drives that?
I think it could be a bit of both. I know that all of our cultures, countries, societies, we all have elements of kind of class, caste, history, clan, however you want to, there's so many tribal lines, and you think about how small Sri Lanka and Pakistan is, and just how many kind of tribal lines, ethnic lines. I think it's probably a bit of both. I think it also could be just the history of migration, and then the number of empires that once existed in South Asia and where those empires came from, and then the influences that they brought. If I think about Sri Lanka, our understandings of these ethnic groups, like I'm Sinhalese, But if you looked at we have been such a melting pot for centuries that if you looked at my DNA, I might be 40% Tamil, or,
Hmm.
like and even like we were a huge point along the ancient trading routes. So we would get kind
Right.
of so much, visitors. Sometimes they
Yeah.
would kind of drop anchor and call Sri Lanka home, and then there would just be this mix. So,
Yeah.
one of my friends who is Muslim, and in Sri Lanka, Muslim also refers to an ethnic group. But then,
Okay.
even
Hmm.
within the Muslim ethnic group, which is huge, you can have different like ancestral links. So his family are Mayman, and
Oh
their
yeah.
roots go all the way back to Yemen. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
didn't even know that there's a Mayman community in Sri Lanka, and they speak
Hmm.
Mayman as well as
Mm-hmm.
all the other languages. And so I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And like, how do we not know this, And that
Yeah.
there's
That's
also
like my family.
African mix in our. Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah.
Persian, right? You don't you aren't you
My mom's
Turkish?
side,
Yeah.
some Iranian, but
Yeah.
this is but
Right.
also we're much more Maiman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I mean,
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it,
Yeah.
and this is not to be a creep or anything, Shalini, but you're the most beautiful person on that show, season 3. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Jacqueline,
thank.
um, Kate, Jacqueline, and somebody, Lori. Like,
Lori.
they're
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful women as well, but those beautiful women have already been
that's
on
very
TV,
sweet.
and they've already been
Yeah.
on
That's,
movies, and we already
oh,
know they're
they were
beautiful,
very beautiful
and
women.
I don't need to sit here and prop up 3 beautiful white women. People have already done that, right? So
Yeah.
I'm propping you up. Hey, we did a
Oh,
10-minute bit on how sexy Belinda is from episode 2. So
Natasha is
Natasha, yeah,
stunning.
stunning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was
Stunning. Yes.
half our episode 2 was about her and how stunning. And
Oh, can you send it
one,
to me? I
yeah.
must send it to her.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, great. Yes. Oh,
okay. Hello,
fantastic. Of course. Yeah.
Natasha Rockwell. Hey, what's up? No, I
Yeah.
mean, it's in jest a little bit, but also truly, like, white people don't need us to prop them up, and it's not to
Yeah.
say like white people aren't cool. Like, I know plenty of cool white people, right? Kind of.
And by the
No,
way, like
absolutely. I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
he married a white
Yeah.
person and I'm married to a white person. So
yeah,
it's like, there's a lot of
I
love there.
no,
But
I
yeah.
know what you I think it's important for us to lift each other up, because I think
Mhm.
that I think it's massively long overdue. But yeah, as you say, when you are the standard, you don't need to be lifted up because you're already
No,
there. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
It is what it is. They didn't want any
it
body fat
is
either,
what it
right?
is.
They didn't
Yeah.
want any body fat. Valentine does the scanner thing, and
Oh
they're like,
my
"No, we don't want
Lord.
any body fat." But don't you want some
Yeah.
body fat to be
Just
healthy?
a bit.
Come on.
Just some more to hold and cuddle when it's
Yeah.
cold. Yeah.
Um, Speaking of cool white people, by the way, Mike White. Terrible
Yes.
transition. Terrible transition, but
Well,
that's his last name. I can't help that.
it's a good that's a good segue. Yeah. That's a very good segue.
Mike White. So Shabnam and I don't go on TikTok. When we do White Lotus recaps, we watch the episode and then we just hop on because we want to talk like this. We don't want to and I didn't know Mike White was on Survivor. I saw it afterwards, but the
I
way I know Mike
know.
White, it's crazy that he was on it. But no, he wrote the most quintessential movies in my life. I'm a little bit older, so I was like 20 something when he wrote these movies. Orange County, Freaks and Geeks,
Yeah.
um, obviously
School of Rock.
School of Rock, yeah. And then there was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
another one that I watched on repeat. I forgot what it was, but he wrote all this amazing movies. Oh, he wrote Dead Man on Campus. That's the first rated R movie I'd ever watched. So it's his movie,
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
and that's from
Wow.
1996. So shout out Mike
You
White.
should
I mean,
interview
yeah,
him. You should interview him. That would be a
We would
really
love
we
fascinating.
love
to.
to. Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we just said all this stuff about white people though, so I don't know if he's gonna. I think he'd be okay with it, right? I think he'd be okay with it.
The show. I think he's very switched on
Well,
about that. Yeah.
what's so great about what he's doing is like even that scene with Belinda and Pornchai, he set up this, something that we don't see in Western TV very often, right?
Mm,
This
Mm-hmm.
beautiful Black woman and an Asian man, and it's very steamy, it's very steamy. And it's like there's a lot of chemistry there. And I just love that because it's moving the consciousness and the conversation forward in such a subtle and beautiful and human way. And and that's why we ended up talking about it for a long time. But it makes me so happy that he did that. And you can see that in other scenes throughout the, throughout the series so far. And hopefully, I'm sure much more as we see the rest of the season. But it's really beautiful that he's doing that. And I think it's intentional, and that, just is really heartwarming.
I agree, and I think for both Black women and for Asian men, I think to be represented in that way as kind of objects of desire, not objects, but you know what I mean. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Desirable.
Desirable, and then also to just expand what interracial romance can look like. Because how often have we seen that pairing? Like, rarely, if ever. So I was really, I mean, I said that to Natasha as well, that I love that this is a storyline. Love, you know, because I mean, in the UK, for example, if you look on like the census, like any kind of government form where you tick your ethnicity, the column for mixed race is in itself says so much that it says white. So mixed race is like white and black dash Caribbean, white and black dash African, and then it's like white and Asian dash Indian, white and Asian dash Bangladeshi, Pakistani, and then Asian other, and then Chinese, and then I think there's like other.
Wow.
And that's it. So interracial is only white plus something. So it's like and and then if I think about myself, I mean, I'm Sri Lankan, my partner is Ghanaian. What would our kids, where our kids are just other on every so I think it's really important to just represent. Also, like, why would we not fall in love with each other as well?
Yeah. Absolutely. We agree, right? Like, it's almost sad, but at least we have mediums to, speak out. And I think you made this point on another podcast you were on. Like, the theater scene, the acting scene, the Hollywood scene, whatever you want to call it, in the mid 2000s was, we were token characters, and we just were.
Yeah.
And now, there's a little bit more representation. Hassan Minhaj here in the US, he's all over the place. He's always on TV. Yeah, it's great. And other people too. Kumail Nanjiani, we did a recap of Welcome to Chippendales, by the way, that brown people don't watch.
I need to finish. I need to.
That's an amazing series. Shabnam loved that series.
It is.
I think it might be her favorite. Yeah.
I think so. It's an amazing series, and it's Emmy nominated, and I feel like it didn't get enough attention for how good it is. And I think it's because there is an element of like racism from a brown character to a black character. And I think a lot of times people don't know how to talk about that. White people don't know how to talk about that. So it makes I think that the media ripple of people discussing it is less because of that. So that's my theory. I don't know if it's true. You can tell me if you think that
I'll
maybe there's some truth to that.
I'll let you know for sure when I watch it.
I want to ask a little bit about the White Lotus before we go. So what was your experience in Thailand? So like, how long, well, I don't know, however much you can tell us of like, how long were you there? Did you get to sightsee? What was that experience like?
I mean, like, I don't think there'll ever be a job quite like that one. So I was kind of flying back and forth. I mean, obviously the crew were there the entire time, and then some of the cast were there the entire time, which would have been maybe like a 5-6 month shoot. So I first flew in for a week, then went to Sri Lanka, and then came back to London, then flew back out. I think for that was maybe like going on 2 months. But because there's so many storylines, you end up almost filming in shifts where one storyline would take precedent and then everybody else is off. So I had an insane amount of time off. I mean, it felt so like, how is this work? So I did get to travel around Thailand, and it is a beautiful country. It was my second time to Thailand, but it is one of my favorite places. Yeah.
We need to go. Oh, Shabnam's been. Sorry. I was supposed to be in Thailand like right now.
Oh, Shabnam's been?
Yeah. We were
really? Right now?
Yeah. Like, just so we could I wasn't going to go to the Four Seasons in Koh Samui. I can't afford that. So I was just going to go, and we were going to record from Thailand and try to do this White Lotus Chai After Dark Thailand thing. So I felt like it was a lot of work, right? We don't have a production budget, so it's just us.
Next season. Shabnam, where did you go in Thailand?
I went to Bangkok. So,
nice. Bangkok,
so that was great. And then I think it's called that. So we went to the Golden Palace, and so we went there, which was so beautiful. It was very, very hot. It was like the end of July, early August. So that was the only thing. I wish it was a different time of year, but it was so beautiful because there's so much gold, and the sun was, so intense. So it was very beautiful, but like it was like we were in an oven, it kind of felt like, but so it was very warm, but it was very, very beautiful. And the food is amazing.
The food
and the people are so friendly.
Incredible.
So,
yeah. It was I think the heat was a definite kind of test with filming, because we were there during that time as well. So those scenes in the glass house, the meditation, I mean, you would just be, raining sweat, and they would blast the fans, like ice packs, fans, you name it, in between takes. You would just be like, it was a sweat city.
Wow.
So we know that Four Seasons Resort is on Koh Samui Island. Is that where most of the show was shot, or was it shot sort of different places around Thailand?
Different locations, but what you see of the villas is the Four Seasons. Well, hold on, I'm just trying to think. No, some of it some of it is Anantara, which was the next location we went to. But especially the early episodes, a lot of those sweeping kind of scenes of the resort, like for example, like the Ratliff's villa, that is Four Seasons. Yeah, that's Koh Samui. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you one more question. What was your most favorite part of the whole experience, the White Lotus experience?
Oh my gosh. The whole thing was a massive pinch me moment of like, it is one of my favorite shows. Anyway, even still, I'm a super fan. I'm the most excited to even watch this season as a fan first. So what it represented, just kind of like in my career, like, when you're living through something you're never gonna forget. So there were ridiculous like moments of kind of like, how am I at the table with these people? You know what I mean? And like initially thinking this must be an admin error, to kind of like, and even just kind of like moments of getting to work with Walton. Being directed by Mike. Like those cast dinners, being around the table with, like some of the best in the business, really, was just incredibly inspiring. And then getting advice from, incredible, just again, some of the best in the business. One of the exec producers, Mark Kamine, works on The Sopranos,
Oh, wow.
And so I told him, I was like, watching that show in high school was so formative for me in wanting to be an actor. I did a PowerPoint presentation on The Sopranos, and I'm working with you now. It's crazy. It's that was just, I'll never live anything like that again. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. I hope that you do. I hope that this is just the beginning of so many moments like that for you. Yeah.
Hey, you deserve it.
Thank you so much.
From your story, from your journey, we can tell you've worked really hard, and, your craft was refined over many years. It's not like you were just handed this role. So no, you put that effort into, you get to be at that cast table. You deserve it. So you wouldn't be there if you didn't deserve it. And I think that's...
Thank you so much.
That's why we reach out to people like you. Like, these kind of stories fuel Shabnam and I, it fuels our listeners. You deserve it. And that first scene, by the way, you are the iconic scene, because that's the first scene. You're in that scene with John, and that's what people are going to watch. Right? Even if they don't get through all 8 episodes, they're always going to see Amrita on screen for life. So it's like I don't need to tell you that. You already know that. But it just sounds like pretty amazing, right?
That's that it means
You are forever
more
lore.
than you know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Also, I just
Cool.
want to say I wasn't some of my closest friends are Indian, so I also just for the record so not like a shit on it, but like it is just the thing, you know, like the
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
you
No, and
know,
us
like
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
just
No,
yeah,
we do the
just
same
like
thing. We just yesterday we did
that's so great.
billionaires bad boy India, and we made fun of billionaires from India for an hour. So
That
we do
series
the
is
same thing.
nuts.
It's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing
Oh
that right
my
now. Yeah.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
we're in it to win it, right? And if everybody, you know, like I don't know, like what hate mail are we gonna get? Like I'm not saying anything crazy.
Absolutely.
You're not
You
saying anything
can't.
Who
crazy.
likes
Like, come on.
billionaires,
Who
right?
likes billionaires?
Yeah,
Who likes
exactly.
billionaires? Like, come on. Who
But
likes
come
billionaires?
on,
Nobody.
Pakistanis and Sri Lankans, of course we're gonna chat.
Hey, I love
One
it.
thing was
I
it
love it.
Of course.
Was it Ali Wong who was said in one of her stand-ups that she's Chinese and Vietnamese and
Yeah.
then her husband is Japanese and Filipino. So she was like, in
Yeah.
our spare time, we shit on Koreans. It was like just a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
It is what it is. But
It is
Shalini,
what it
yeah.
is.
Hey, we're here now, right? And we're gonna live this life. We have to. You have to live your
Absolutely.
dreams. Everybody, check out Shalini Peiris on the White Lotus, season 3, episodes 1 through 8. Not quite out yet.
Thank you so
But
much, guys.
also check out Vera. That's one of my favorite shows. I can't believe you were on an episode of Vera, dude. It's like my
Are you serious?
yeah, Murder She Wrote, Angela Lansbury. I love all that kind of stuff. I used to watch that stuff in the 80s.
What?
Vera, it's been on air for like 20 years, right? So
Yeah, a long
yeah, I love
time.
that show. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch the show that you were on, but I'm going to. I'm gonna watch
That's
that episode.
okay. Oh my gosh, it's literally one episode. I mean, I love Columbo. I mean, I'm a big
Yeah,
Columbo
and Columbo. Yeah, I love those kind of shows. That's great. Like, it's not just White
Oh,
Lotus. It's not just theater. Thank you so much, Shalini.
thank
Buddy,
you
follow
so
Shalini on
much.
Instagram. We really appreciated this. This was really nice.
Tell our listeners your Instagram handle and where to find you.
I.am.shalini.p. Nice and simple.
I like it. That's a great
like it.
Instagram. Everybody
Yeah.
follow Shalini.
Thanks, guys.
hey,
Thank you,
Thanks,
Shabnam.
Sameem.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Thank you
guys
so
soon.
much, Shalini. We are so honored to have you, and thank you very, very much for
This
giving
has
us the
been
time.
A pleasure and a privilege. Thank you so much.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed what you heard and you'd like to support Sameem and I, please head over to patreon.com/chaiafterdark and you can sign up for a lot more cool content. As always, rate us, give us 5 stars only, please, and write us a lovely review. We'd love to hear it. And don't forget to follow us on all our socials. We're at Chai After Dark on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and everywhere.